Hey guys, welcome to episode number 93. Today is Monday, so it's Update Monday, and I thought I'd give you guys an update since I've been away for the past week on vacation. Everything survived. I had two fish feeders set up at work to handle the clownfish and the dwarf African frog tanks, and I had two more feeders set up here to handle the turtles and the mollies in the 55-gallon tank. But what I did notice when coming home, everything made it fine. Everything was fine. I did have to do some water changes on the clownfish tank because I think the feeder did overfeed them a little bit. But anyways, to my point, when I got home, I was greeted by more styrofoam. As you can see here, there's a bunch of styrofoam all stuck to the side of the glass. It's kind of all over the place in the tank, and as you might guess, one of the terrapins has gotten a little bit curious again. The patch job that I did over here is still working out just fine. There's no new damage to that side, but there's another side to chew on, and I think someone got curious. So as you can see here, there is another bite mark, and it looks like this has been chewed on for probably the full week while I was away, because it's similar size to the one over here, the damage that was done over here, and that took about a week to accumulate. So I bet the second they realized I was gone, they started to tear up their habitat, which is fine. I wasn't expecting them to behave themselves while I was gone, but it's kind of to be expected because they have done it in the past. So in an upcoming video, I will be draining this tank and doing another repair job. It'll probably be similar to the one that I did over here. Maybe I can watch my first video and try to correct some of my mistakes, try to perfect that technique, and see if I can fix this issue. But the turtles are doing well, the fish are doing well, my plants are doing well. One thing that I did do over here to give you guys an update on the mangroves before I left on vacation was a lot of the plants were getting really high again, which is really amazing considering where they started off. And they are crowding out each other for light. I don't have more space to give them, but what I did do was I started to cut them back. So you see all of the ones that were tall, like this one I cut, this one I cut, this one back here I cut. So you see a lot of the tops of these really tall ones are now Y shapes. So I cut the growing tip on quite a few of the really tall plants. And I might actually do that again here to kind of cut them down to size a little bit. I know that their roots are really strong. If I took the roots out here, they're just like a giant tangle. So I don't foresee any problems with cutting these plants back a little bit. Hopefully that will stimulate the bushy growth out sideways instead of the tall growth, in the vertical direction, which will hopefully allow them to kind of spread out and get the added light that they need. One of my bulbs appears to be out. So I'll take a look at that. I might switch in a red light because I think these are all towards the blue spectrum. So I'm trying to give them kind of a balanced spectrum of light, some towards the red, some towards the blue, to stimulate healthy growth. But as you can see with these leaves, they're big green leaves. I haven't seen any signs of distress so far with the healthy plants. They're doing really, really well. And I think the only thing that they may be lacking is some of the smaller ones are probably getting crowded out, and they're not growing quite as fast. But I haven't had any die off yet, so I'm hoping that the lack of light will stimulate some competition, and they'll actually shoot up faster to get towards the light. But we'll see. This was the mangrove a few weeks ago that I showed you that looked like it had a dead tip, and as you can see here, where the growing tip usually would appear is dead, and but the plant's roots were really good, and it actually shot that out from the side of the stalk here. So I'm assuming that the top part was dead and somehow blocked, and the plant couldn't grow as it normally would, but it had enough energy to kind of pierce through the side here, and it is growing very rapidly, and it has sent off a couple pairs of leaves. Kind of the same situation here. This one looked like it was dead for the longest time. As you can see, there really is no first set of leaves on this one. But very rapidly, it has thrown out a really thick stalk. It's been growing really tall, really fast. So I'm assuming that it was just the roots that weren't quite established as quickly, and now that they are, they're starting to take off. So really goes to show you the importance of getting those roots nice and healthy, and getting those going. And I think that's one thing that I lacked the first time around when I had the mangroves and I started them in here. I think a lot of the rootlets were getting stripped off, as I've discussed in previous videos. And now that they have kind of a nice stable environment here, they've got a pump circulating the water around. They've got plenty of the grow formula mixture in the water, and I do weekly water changes on that to kind of reset all of the levels there. And arguably plenty of light. Maybe they need more. Not quite sure, but they don't seem to be complaining. They're not very demanding on the amount of light that they receive. So that's good. One other thing that I have noticed here is the first set of leaves on a lot of these plants have kind of like withered and fallen off, and I think that's normal. Here's an example of one here. This used to be the first green leaf that popped out. It's not a true leaf, but it was the first one, and they seem to have died and fallen off, and I think that's normal. As they get 2 or 3 or 4 sets of true leaves on them, they don't need those anymore, and they just kind of die and fall off. But you'll see some of these have nice woody stems that have started. Obviously, the brand new growth is green stems, but as it ages a little bit, it turns brown and woody. So that's pretty interesting as well. I would like to take a few of these plants and separate them and put them in their own containers, just to see how the roots develop and see how the plants develop when they're on their own. I really would like to get a few of these in their own containers so I can see how they would grow out as miniature trees, I guess. And the rest of these I'd like to try to start to cut back in height, but try to increase their width and try to sell those off for saltwater tanks. In another video, I'll take you back to the office. I've got a few mangroves there that are doing really well. I was surprised. One of them looked like they were going to die off. It was kind of starting to wither. And I got back from vacation, and it looked fine, perfectly healthy. So something turned it around. It might have been the nutrients, it might have been the light, it might have been the salt water. I'm not quite sure. But all of these are doing well considering their cramped living conditions here. And speaking of cramped living conditions, I'm also going to do a video here shortly of weighing all of these turtles out, and I'll show you how all of them turned out female, except for Speedy, who I knew was a male to begin with. I believe. Again, they're just getting to the age where you can tell if they're male or female for sure. They're all about 4 inches in shell length, so I think it's about time to take them out, measure them, and and get to see what's what, what's male, what's female, and kind of report on their progress. But before that, I'll probably fix up this tank a little bit because it needs some help. Pothos is just about done with its dying off phase, and how I can tell that is, no more leaves have shriveled up and died, and in fact there is new growth. These 2 or 3 leaves here are new since last week, so I know that they'll make it. I think some of the roots are starting to grow back, but in the meantime, I'm going to clean up this mess that one of these guys made, and I'll see you guys later. Alright, bye.